Hey, good morning, my dear friends, and welcome to beautiful Surfside, California. I'll take you right down here into the waves this morning so you can check it out along with me. We got a lot to talk about. Did that bluefin tuna out there near Tana Cortez Bank bite last night? We'll be checking into that with all of you. Of course, we'll check out the long range scene. We're going to take a look at our local islands. Has there been any white sea bass or halibut taken? We'll be checking that out with you also. And of course, two live shows tonight. We'll be live from our home base at 22nd Street Landing in San Pedro, California with the Danny Cadota Show at 4:50. And then tonight at 6, it's Tackle Shop Confessions. We've got an action-packed day for you. Stay tuned. I'm setting up for the morning briefing, and it's coming up next.
Berm, what are you doing?
Fishing on another Friedman Adventure.
You know what time it is?
It's time for the morning briefing!
Before we get rolling here today, you can help the Friedman Adventures cause by purchasing a hat or some other Friedman Adventures merchandise right now. All you have to do is go to embroiderycreations.net and order some merchandise. It helps us keep the content headed your way. Deeply appreciate all your love and support. Thank you, and we'll see you soon. Hey, good morning, my dear friends, and welcome to beautiful Surfside, California. It's kind of drizzly. It's kind of foggy. I guess I don't have to tell you that. You can look out there and see that, but it's a beautiful morning. A little chill to the air for us little babies here in Southern California. But man, we have got so much to talk about. We've got a 10-day trip on the Independence just getting started right now. Of course, we've got to talk about the bluefin tuna. The other night, the Highliner had an incredible night. But did they bite last night? How's the daytime bite going on that BFT right now? We've got to cover the islands. We've had some stripers caught in the surf and nice halibut. We've had some incredible rock fishing going on up there out of Ventura Sport Fishing on the Island Spirit and up there out of Morro Bay. Albacore out of San Francisco. Bluefin tuna out of Half Moon Bay and so much more. You know what time it is. It's time for the morning briefing. Good morning, my friends. Oh my God, is it good to be with you all? And I can't thank you enough for all the likes. When you hit that like button, it means the world to us. Please hit that like button, share these videos with a friend, subscribe to the Friedman Adventures YouTube channel, and tick that little bell. You'll be notified when there's new content. You can catch us on Facebook, Instagram, over there on TikTok, Apple Podcast, and Spotify. Appreciate all the love and support you give us. And don't forget, go to embroiderycreations.net and purchase a Friedman Adventures hat today. It means the world to us. Your support really helps us to produce more and more content. Florida content coming up here in a couple of weeks. I'll be in Florida for a couple of weeks, and we'll have content headed your way on that. I can't thank you all enough for all the used tackle that you've been bringing us so we can get it down to the kids on Cedros Island in beautiful Mexico, Baja California. Really appreciate it. Yesterday, Daphne came by 22nd Street Landing. What a lovely person, and she is nuts about fishing. She really enjoys fishing, but she went out of her way to bring us some really beautiful gear that we're going to be able to ship down to Mexico a little bit later this year. Daphne, and to all of you who've been helping, thank you so very much. It is deeply appreciated. You can drop that used fishing tackle off in several different areas up there at Ventura Sport Fishing, Eric's Fishing Tackle in Ventura, Hook, Line, and Sinker up there in Santa Barbara, Tackle Express in Santa Clarita, also over at Young's Fishing Tackle in Bellflower, California, right down the street here at, of course, Seal Beach and PCH Big Fish Bait and Tackle. Thought I was going to forget the name, didn't you? And Island Fishing Tackle in Carson, California. Two live shows today, 4:15, the Danny Cadota Show, live from our home base in San Pedro, California. In fact, we'll be down there, Mackie and I, from about 2 p.m. If anybody's not doing anything, you want to help us clean up the studio. Come on down. 2 p.m. The door will be open. Just walk in and volunteer yourselves. We would love to have you down there helping us out. And then tonight at 6 p.m. we'll be live with Tackle Shop Confessions from Island Fishing Tackle in beautiful Carson, California. All right, we've got a lot to get in. Oh, by the way, hey, back to the used fishing clothing drive and everything else we're doing. We have a ton of clothing that we're going to send down. John from the True Line sent us over copious amounts of beautiful used clothing that's going to Mexico. John, thank you so much. True Line Sport Fishing, 22nd Street Landing. All right, my friends, let's jump into it, and we have got to get rocking and rolling because there's all kinds of great stuff. The Independence is on a 10-day trip, just starting their fishing right now. They had an incredible sushi feast on the way down. The food on the Independence is so good. You're going to die when you see it. There's been great yellowfin tuna fishing down there on the 40 to 80 pound yellowfin tuna on those 10-day trips, 8-day trips, 7-day trips. Have been an incredible year. Also, some excellent yellowtail action here recently. We've seen the yellows biting full speed down there, and we're still seeing good wahoo fishing. We'll be getting some reports in from the Independence. I'll try to hook you up live with Captain Brian Pfeiffer just a little bit later today. We'll see if we can't pull that off. Man, awesome fishing. We have a 5-day adventure on board the Independence. It is in April, late April of 25. We would love you to join us. Just give Paulina a call at the Independence office and we'll get you on board that one. All right, let's talk bluefin tuna. Tanner, Cortez, west of San Clemente Island. Fish have tails, and they like to move around a lot. You know, the other night on board the Highliner, I don't know how it can get really any better. They had 18 fish right before dark, kind of a twilight bite. We experienced a similar kind of a thing on board the Apollo. And then when they got into the nighttime bite, whoa, they had 36 fish at night on the Highliner. I was talking to Max. He said it was darn good fishing. 54 fish in total, and you know what? 75% of those fish were in the 60 to 110 pound class, a superior grade of fish, and a lot of fun to catch. Sometimes those fish will only bite, I'm talking daytime now, the 25 pound fluorocarbon. Other times those fish will bite right on up to the 60 pound. You're going to have to gauge the ferocity of the bite and see what's happening, and of course you want to hook them on as heavy a line as is possible because they have teeth, they pull hard, they're 60 to 110. If you get on that grade of fish, you're going to need that heavier line. At night, you definitely want to be vertical with your jig. You want to be almost straight up and down if at all possible. The further you scope out, the less likely it is you're going to get down to where the fish are. So when the captain says drop to 300, if you scope way out and you literally drop to 300, you're really at 240. Or something like that. So use appropriate weighted jigs. If you can get away with a 240, do it. A 350's been pretty good, but at other times you're going to have to go to a 500 gram jig to get straight up and down. 100 pound specter, 200 pound bite, leader, drop exactly to where the captain tells you to. And by that I mean if he says I'm seeing fish at 300 feet, you're dropping to at least 350. I know one guy on board our Apollo trip, Brennan, he said he was dropping to 500. He was scoped out pretty good, but the captain was saying fish at 300. He was dropping to 500. Every time I looked over there, he had another fish hook, and he was handing it off to another guy. He didn't want me to tell you that and ruin his reputation that he's actually got a big heart, but there you go, Brennan. Busted you, man. So anyway, that's the nighttime bite. Now, did it bite last night before I get into the daytime bite? Whoa, the fleet seemed to get off the fish last night. There were very few really good scores. I think that fish just moved on the boys and they're going to relocate it. They're already starting to see it here this morning and starting to relocate it. So every day and every night is different. You know, those fish move around. They do have tails. And last night was a slow one for the fleet at night. Now, the general overall view of this bite has been where guys are getting from, I want to say 0 to 10 fish, you know, a night. And then there's a few guys like that Highliner, they get on them, the school sticks with them, and they bite nails. They really bite nails, Cliff. And so we'll keep our eyes on that situation for you. Daytime fishing is very hit and miss right now. It is not wide open, and you can't take it to the bank that you're going to get them. Now, some guys still coming up with some pretty darn good scores, and there's some superior grade fish mixed in with some smaller fish. It's all about just finding the fish when they want to bite. We went through that on our Apollo trip. It was 12 noon, and we were all looking at one another saying, please, where are you? Are you going to bite today? And there was that moment of, man, I guess we're fishing rockfish, or what are we going to do on this trip? And then all of a sudden, we wander off into this warmer water, bluer water, full of bait, full of fish jumping everywhere. Those are the kind of trips I absolutely love. Those ones where the despair starts to take over, and then all of a sudden you are rescued by jumping bluefin tuna and multiple hookups. That was so much fun, and you can experience that. However, there's been some tougher trips. The guys from the 540 Slingers Club, my dear friend Jeff Yeomans, I imagine my chiropractor Ed Maywood was out there, Danny, and the rest of the great 540 Slingers Club guys on board the Pride out of 22nd Street Landing, unable to connect with any bluefin tuna at all, but they provided great action on sheephead and all kinds of other good fish. Everybody went home with some fillets, but this is the nature of the game right now. The Pacific Dawn day and a half trip, 25 bluefin tuna, up to 120 pounds out of San Diego. The Fortune, also out of SD, 2-day trip, 42 on the bluefin tuna. You heard what a good score they had there on board the Highliner, the Islander. By the way, the Highliner is just getting going right now. Max is seeing some fish. I'll let you know. Actually, Max drove all night. He's Betty by right now. But Jason, starting to see some fish. I'll keep you up to date on that and keep you informed on how this goes. Islander had 63 on the bluefin tuna on a 3-day trip. It's very hit and miss, very dicey right now. We'll keep our eyes on it. Make sure you have that variety of fluorocarbon. If you're on our Amigo trip, leaving Sunday night, man, I can't wait for that one. That's going to be a lot of fun. Bring that 25-pound fluorocarbon. I bring some 60-pound. And you already heard me mention what's going on in terms of knife jigs and the weight that you want to bring along. Now, all you guys on the Amigo, I'll be getting current information to you. If I tell you today what tackle to bring, I'm just telling you in general. But, you know, things change. So hang on. We want to get you the up-to-minute tackle information. I'll be doing that as we move closer to that day. So there you have it. Offshore, a little bit hit and miss right now. Hopefully it'll come roaring back here very, very soon. Let's take a look at what's going on at the islands, and we'll start you at the Coronado Islands, where we continue to see scratchy fishing right now after a spectacular summer. Man, that was one of the best summers I've seen at the islands in a long time for yellowtail. It was spectacular. The San Diego had 4 yellowtail yesterday, and then plenty of bottom grabbers to provide excellent table fare. Can't beat that. That has been the situation at the Coronado Islands here recently. At San Clemente Island, scratch a yellow or two, a little bit of calico bass. Great rock fishing if you want to fall back on that. At Catalina Island, mostly rockfish right now. We catch a pretty good amount of bonitos sometimes. There's still some calico bass, occasional barracuda, you know, but a lot of guys are falling back on the rockfish, like our friend Nick Ramirez, who was out on board the Pursuit yesterday and won the JP. Jackpot goes to Nick Ramirez. Nick, you're the man. Way to go, my friend. Out there on the Pursuit out of 22nd Street Landing in San Pedro. The El Patron, same thing. Fishing the Rock is doing great over there at Catalina Island. Out of Long Beach Sport Fishing, you can get on the El Patron by going to www.longbeachsportfishing.org. She's speedy, she's comfortable, catches lots of fish, great crew, great galley. Can't say enough about the El Patron. Up there in the Channel Islands, the Island Spirit out of Ventura Sport Fishing with a superior day of sport fishing yesterday. Saul from Ventura is on the thumbnail of today's morning briefing with a nice ling cod. They had a couple of lings on board the Island Spirit and copious amounts of colorful and delicious eating rockfish. I don't know how you can beat that. Really great stuff going on up there. There's an occasional halibut for the fleet up there. There's an occasional white sea bass up there, but it's mostly rockfish right now. Ventura Sport Fishing and the Island Spirit, you cannot beat that. You can get a hold of them at 805-676-3474. Tell Saul when he answers the phone, because the guy works 24 hours a day, Tell him you saw him on the thumbnail. He's looking good. And also, you can also go to VenturaSportFishing.com and book that way. So some really great rock fishing going on there in that neck of the woods. So might as well ride you up to Morro Bay where our friend Alan Jones. Alan, thanks for checking in. He was on the Black Pearl yesterday, and Alan said, man, this is my new favorite boat. We went to Jurassic Park, and we caught all kinds of rockfish and had just a really wonderful time. Alan, thank you so much for sharing that. So happy you had so much.
These are just the fillets from today's trip to Jurassic Park. Sorry about that. That's just today's trip. Look at that. Plenty of meat for everybody. Yes, sir. More coming. They still bring it back.
Hey, I got to drop this on you, right? I mean, our friend up there around Half Moon Bay, Santa Cruz area, Trevor Ventries, and his 5-year-old son, Griff. Man, you see him there with all that albacore on the deck. Now, that's from this season. Right now, the albies are a little bit spotty up there, but they caught that fish during the season. They had 103 albacore for their season, and they just canned albacore like it was coming out their ears. And man, there is nothing better than canning your own albacore and having it for years to come. It is so great. Nice going there, my friends. Hey, if you've got unfiled taxes, then you're going to want to call our friend Tim Marquez. Tim's the best. He's been doing taxes for 35 years. And if you have heating and or air conditioning needs, it's John Lopez at Efficient Heating and Air Conditioning. A lot of good stuff going on, and we are a long way from over in the sport fishing game. That is absolutely for sure. Let's talk about the half-day boats and the local bite up and down the coast. They had in San Diego a spectacular year, but giving way to some cooler water now and catching sculpin and rockfish. That's not to say there's still some sand bass and calico bass being taken, and every once in a while we get a flurry on the yellowtail. It's been about 10 days now since the new Seaforth out of Seaforth Sport Fishing in San Diego. Beautiful rig, by the way. If you've never fished that thing, man, she is gorgeous. Had 27 yellows pop up on them one day, and there's still some evidence of that yellow around. Should start to bite the yo-yo iron as this water cools down. We'll see if we get a flash of that, but I'm seeing a lot of rockfish right now. Same thing up there, Oceanside, Dana Wharf. Here in St. Peter, we never ever really got rolling on a local surface bite. We had spurts of good bass fishing, a little bit of barracuda, but it's been mostly sculpin, rockfish, that kind of thing, and that's what we are seeing right now. October the 1st, we switched to deep water. You got to fish 300 feet or deeper when you're fishing for rockfish. That means big rockfish, if you ask me. I love that kind of a situation. Up there out of Marina Del Rey, we're picking at some bass. At times, not bad. In fact, on the Betty O, they had 73 sand bass yesterday morning. Where the heck that come from? It's been mostly sculpin and rockfish and that kind of stuff. The Spitfire out of MDR had a couple of halibut and a rare Popeye Catalufa on board the Spitfire. Google that, check that thing out, or maybe in post-production I'll put a photo up. If they don't have one up of that fish, I'll find one and put it up for you. Really cool fish, no question about it. So some really good stuff going on up and down the coast. If you like rockfish and fish taco meat, you're going to be in really, really good shape, no question about it. Hey, I got a lobster report coming up for you. And if you need lobster gear, hoop nets, or anything else, you want to go to promarahi.net. Make sure you do that. Put in FA at checkout. You'll get 10% off. And don't forget, get a Friedman Adventures hat today. It really helps us so very much. We need your support. We need your help. And by going there and getting a hat, it means the world to us. That is embroiderycreations.net. Get your Friedman Adventures hat today. All right, let's talk lobster for a second before I get into some surf fishing and a striper that was caught in the surf and a nice halibut. Lobster fishing's been pretty darn good here so far, and we've got to go to our old buddy Alex Serrano, who's a great family man. He loves being out on the water, but he really loves being out on the water with his boys. And he was out, took his boat out, went to Malibu, and by 10 o'clock in the evening, they had limits of langosta for 3 kids. And man, what a trip. It was fantastic. lobster fishing. I'm telling you, the kids, the twins, had such a great time on this trip. Alex sharing his love of sport fishing with his children, and that's something he's going to pass on to his kids, and presumably they'll do the same. And that's how you keep the ball rolling and getting out into the great outdoors. And there's nothing more healthy and more needed for our kids right now than to get them out into the great outdoors. In fact, that's why we collect all that tackle and send it down to sea to us. That's why we do so much in the communities, because it is so important to the mental health of kids. And I know you think I'm crazy now that fishing's going to cure the mental health disorders in our society, but it makes a difference to get off the phones and get out onto the water, into this beautiful blessing that we're all had bestowed upon us. And I can't thank Alex enough for all he does. All right, it's time to talk to Southern California surf. Let's do that, because we want to talk to you about what is going on down there around the Huntington Beach Fair. We continue to see quite a bit of sand crabs there in the surf, and we are starting to catch more and more barred perch. Noli, Yan, Jr. putting the wood to him down there. Noli, it's so great to hear from you on a regular basis. He is an outstanding surf fisherman. He loves fishing more than anybody. He knows the value of getting out here. In fact, I would guess Noli would call this at times spiritual. He loves getting out. So we've got some nice barred perch. We're starting to cool down on our water temperatures, and that means barred perch, baby. It means our Corbina will hang out a little bit, but they'll become a little bit more dicey. Here in Surfside, California, we continue to see a little bit of yellowfin croaker that have been biting here, occasional halibut also in the surf. And then up there around Redondo and the Santa Monica Bay, we've been seeing some pretty good Corvina fishing around the Topaz Rock Jetty. Up there around El Segundo, similar kind of catches. As the warm water seems to be hanging out up there in that neck of the woods, and also an occasional halibut taken up there also. And also an occasional striper. Check that out for Alex as he was fishing the surf up there in Southern California, Marina Del Rey. Nice catch for him. Way to go, Alex. It's good to see you. Been a long time, my friend. Carlos Gonzalez. Well, Carlos had a shoulder injury. He had to shelf himself for a couple of months, and man, he was dying. He wanted to get out and go fishing, and he did. And man, his first day out, nice halibut for Carlos. Nice going there in the surf. Who can beat that? And Michael Limon, you know Michael. I mean, he's part of our Friedman Adventures family, a huge part with his grandpa, Dan Lightfoot. Michael was out fishing for pulpos, apparently. He had that octopus yesterday. So nice going, Michael. All right, my friends, what can I tell you? It's a little foggy, but we got a huge day for you. Danny Cadota Show, 4:15 live. You can ask questions. Tune in. 6 p.m. tonight. Tackle, shop, confessions. That's going to be a lot of fun. Florida content headed your way shortly. Another beautiful trip on the Apollo. I should have that whole video up here shortly. I know I've been promising for a while. I'm going to go really work hard at it right now. Try to get it up before tackle, shop, confessions. If not, for sure, tomorrow. There's a lot of great actions, tackle tips, and so much more there for you. And of course, we're going to be watching everything in between, from Mexico to the long-range scene to our islands, Bluefin, tuna, and so much more. Can't thank you enough for joining us, and I hope to see you really, really soon. Don't forget, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m., 22nd Street Landing. Come on down. Mac and I need your help. Take care, my friends.